So this is just the second part. I want to give you a feel of the investor's journey. As we said, focusing on millennials and focusing on wealth creation. So first, the user will start, are you ready? So they're going to get some type of video about motivation. They're going to get a video about why wealth creation is important, why they deserve to have a passive income, why they deserve to be ready for retirement, why they deserve to have these funds. So this is the first stage of the application and saying, is this something that you're going to commit to as a user of our system? And is this something that it's a long strategy? Is this something that you want to be part of? So the second stage is we jump into the goals. So we have three goals here. Do you want extra funds every month, save to make a large investment, or do you want to live off your investment? So the important aspect here is we're just asking for one goal. What is that most important, whether it's short term or long term? What is the most important goal you want to achieve as this millennial investor ready to create funds? So one popular answer is saving to make a large investment. Through the surveys that we've done and talking to people, that fear of not having enough money to buy a house in the future or this kind of thing has been a big concern for a lot of these millennials that we've talked to. So tell us about a situation. We're just learning about their financial situation, starting to collect information. Now at this stage, before they even sign on to the system, we want a little bit of a commitment. So this video is like, okay, this is going to be a long commitment. We want you to confirm that you're going to be part of this journey. So right now we have a couple of incentives. First, we're giving them, a very small amount when they invest their first $1,000. The second thing we're doing is giving them a mentor. So the mentor is someone that will just ask them, hey, how are you going? What are you doing? It's just someone to push them along the journey. So the idea is they're feeling like they're someone spending time with you. So therefore, you're going to spend time putting your effort on the platform as a almost like a thank you purpose here. And the last thing we're doing is adding the time pressure. We're giving them 30 days saying you must action within 30 days to be part of this website. We don't want people on the website which aren't willing to action within 30 days. So those accounts will be disabled and these people will be rejected from the site. So this is the first stage. Before they even get to the system, we have this process of starting to get them to commit to a journey. Standard profile form, and then they come into the screen. So obviously the screen would not look like this from day one. This is just a sample screen to show all the elements of the gamification. So at the beginning, they would start at the seed level. The seed level, as you saw in the presentation, is about one, getting the commitment, understanding the journey, two, understanding, the value of the wealth and how to achieve that, and then getting them to invest in the way that we want them to invest in. So on the left, we have these kind of levels, and these levels are focused on education, on performing tasks and understanding the system. We have this concept of points. So these points are as you do tasks. We have intrinsic goals and extrinsic goals. So these extrinsic rewards, is about when you've achieved something, when you've learned something, so you can understand and you feel that you're progressing through the system. The wealth point is to do about the value, your value. And the idea is when we group people later on or allow social interaction, that people of high value are only talking to other people of high value. And obviously low level, entry level people are only talking to other entry level people. So the other thing we have here, as I mentioned, is your personal goal. So a lot of this is based on the extrinsic, but here we have the intrinsic, which we don't overlap. This is something that's very personal to your personal wealth journey, where the user can come in and set up okay, what is my first goal? What is my goals to achieve over multiple times? So an example here is I want to invest my first 10,000. I want to invest my first 25,000. I want to get to a point where I'm making $2,000 return and reinvesting all 2,000. Then my next stage is I want to get to 3,000, but I'm withdrawing $500 a month to help my portfolio grow. So that's just an example. We have our stats here, which is just about the wealth and how much you have in your account. Um, the other concepts we have is the task. So the task is really the journey that the user is going through, and the task can be different types. It can be a video, could be a calculator, which I'll get into later, can be an action in terms of injecting money, setting up your debit, or whatever actions we want to gear them to. And for each of these tasks, there's some type of reward, and later there's some type of badges for some tasks as they progress through the system. So let's look at some of a typical task here. So trading time for money to financial freedom. So this is a webcast which was done about, you know, creating, working 1 hour makes you X amount, and that's not a path where you're ever going to achieve financial freedom. So this is one of these emotional stories about, are you just doing time for money, or are you doing time and using that money to grow that wealth later? So we're trying to push them into this thinking and these emotions of, yes, I can create wealth, and obviously the fear of wasting time. So it's a combination of, motivations and fear, and taking them through here. So they watch this video, then they say, okay, what is most important to you? And then we're obviously collecting personal information about them to understand their profile better. So for example, why do I want to make money, and why would I want to invest money? Now, I want to have a healthy mind and body, learn from others and experience, build a passive income for a good life balance. Once they submit, they have this concept of points. These points are adding up here on the left as well. So it gave them the feedback. It's given them some gratification of doing the task and motivating them to do another task. So the tasks are the core part of moving through the journey. The other thing here is the challenge. So we have something called the Starbucks challenge. And the concept of the Starbucks challenge in this example is about understanding expenses. It's not about Starbucks at all. So challenging yourself to understand how you spend money excessively. If you're spending $5, $10 at Starbucks, is this a good investment? Or should it be invested in something else? So, I'm just using Starbucks as an example, but everyone has their vices. Everyone spends their money on things that they don't need to spend. So the concept here, once again, we try to break it down into its basic format. We're really trying to focus on millennials that are handling one concept at a time. So first stage is record your expenses. So, the idea is they have a timed activity 1 week to think about the expenses that they're doing, and they can record their major expenses. The second part of this challenge is changing your habit. So just select one item. Once again, we're going to this concept. Never do too much. One task at a time, one challenge at a time, one action at a time. So we're trying to change someone's habit. We say select one item that you can do without. One item, not more, and try to save this for 3 weeks. Every little bit counts. And obviously what we're trying to do is that as they're saving money, is to invest this money. So we relate this back to the concept. So let's say we invest, I don't know, let's say $100 just for example's sakes. We need to put this in the reality of what the future value of was this. So if I'm saving 100 every month, this is 6,000 over 5 years, and that's a portfolio value of 13,200. So that's just an estimated value using a 2.2 multiplier for real estate. But it's always relating back to that portfolio value, how much you can get and how much you can return. So just trying to motivate them and give them the insight of these values. And now the idea is they're getting virtual gifts. So they're getting a virtual item as part of their their gameplay, so to speak. So these are the two core aspects of the gameplay. There are other aspects which I'll just go over quickly. We have things to motivate them to come back, which is spinning a wheel, winning a prize, and the idea is that this will, people that are forgetting about the application will come back and spin this once a month to, possibly win, an extra charity bonus or extra social points or virtual gifts, or maybe when they top up another 5,000, they'll get some small amount. The concept of the inbox. So the idea is that a mentor can talk to you and you can associate and talk to them. And the other aspects that we have is the achievements, which we covered, and we have the charity, which I mentioned in the thing in the presentation about creating epic meaning. So obviously the personal goals is the primary epic meaning, which is doing something for yourself to be greater. And now we have a secondary epic meaning, which is just by having money and investing money, you're helping someone without doing anything other than, so you're profiting and you're helping someone. So it creates this bond to the website and this concept of purpose and epic meaning. Some of the other screens is, so all these points have a few purposes. One of the purposes is the idea of a room. So in LinkedIn, you'll have your profile. In Twitter, you have a bio. But here, you have something visual. So for example, we talked about the Starbucks challenge. So we can add these concepts. I've made a success. I was successful in something else. And we can showcase what we've achieved. So we can showcase, okay, I've achieved a certain level through education, I've done certain challenges, and I've gained from them. So the idea is showcasing your portfolio and your personality. So using social points to collect things like a little plant and or a little dog or whatever like that, so you can kind of add your own personality to your profile, but obviously limited to what's provided. So this is suddenly giving not only the ability to progress through, but also creating this social element of creating a visual profile and other people being able to follow you and view your profile to see what have you succeeded at and where you've got into, which obviously gets into the sense of communities, building points and being able to use these in different ways to contribute to a community and feedback. And the other concept here, we have ideas of, as I said, ACH, direct debit, or ACH, whatever you call it. So the idea is, you've done a challenge. All right, I've done my Starbucks challenge. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this happen once a month, and I'm going to put in my $100. I'm going to start this on a day which is the 2 days after payday. I want this to happen for 6 months. So now the idea is we've done now our challenges, and now we're going to say I'm going to take these funds and add it to it, so we can see that over the 5 years it's going to be 6,000, and their portfolio value is going to be 12,800, 13,200, sorry. So the idea is that we're always associating these values back to their future portfolio values. And the last concept, which I'll go over just very quickly, is the concept of the calculators. So there's different characteristics. There's creative people, and then there's the thinking style of people. So the profile is really focused on those that are the visual ones that like to get those rewards and use them. But the calculators are for the more technical, calculator, so to speak, uses. And the here is we have a series of evolving calculators. So one example here is I call bugger off fund, uh, more of an English term, but the idea is, okay, I want to leave my job. So here people will spend time going through this process and they have to do a lot of thinking work. What are my minimal expenses? How much money do I have set aside? How much do I need to live? And how long is it going to take me to do a job? Now the system will do a whole bunch of calculations for you and some margins and create you some conclusions as well. And the idea from here is that people are investing time and they can save this calculator. They can create multiple versions of this calculator, of not only this calculator, but other calculators like the retirement calculator or Firelight, which is how to retire early, retire in your 30s, retire in your 40s, and how to achieve that and setting those goals. So the users are engaging and investing their time and mental thought into creating something that's part of their journey. And that's it. I mean, there's many other aspects, but I won't get into them. I just want to give you a quick overview of how we're creating that journey, how we're engaging, how we're using these game mechanics to create a level of addiction almost, and how we're not just saying here is an investment portal, boom, done. We're guiding them step by step by step, how to understand the system, how to understand the features of wealth, how to get involved in real estate funding, and how to build wealth. And you'll notice that here, there's almost nothing to do with real estate, even though real estate is the mechanism. It's about understanding the risk and the portfolio aspects of the investment that includes real estate. So I hope you understand, and yeah, and I hope at least it's a little bit interesting for you. So thanks for your time. Thanks, Trey.